Hi, I'm Athena Bahri of CrystalReikiHealer.com, and today I'm going to show you how to use a pendulum, what you can use it for, what to expect, and how to get acquainted with your own pendulum. So thank you for watching. So to begin, let's talk about the different kinds of pendulums there are, because there are many, and what you choose, what resonates for you, may be different than what resonates for me. So know that really anything can act as a pendulum. You can use a necklace, like if I were to take this off, I could use that. I love to work with crystal ones. My favorite is this one, which is a clear quartz. And this was gifted by a Reiki client actually as appreciation and a token of gratitude. And I really love it. It feels very solid. It has the dual points, which is wonderful for just energy all on its own with clear quartz, and giving me that clear message when I have questions. Another one that I will often use is this one, which was also gifted by a friend, and this one is wrapped in a copper wrapping, which is really nice. The energy from copper is a great amplifier and really helps attract what it is you're trying to seek, which are answers in this case. This one also has magnets on either side. It is a clear quartz, but it also has different colors for the chakras that are in there, which is really nice too. So when you're first getting your pendulum, and pick out whatever you like. If you're using crystal, if you're using metal, if you're using a necklace, whatever you decide to work with really is your choice. I prefer to use real metals like copper, gold, platinum, even silver is really nice. And for crystals, I really like the energy of clear quartz, but some people prefer amethyst, some people like labradorite, which is also really nice, like intuitive stone. So for today's video, we're going to work with my little clear quartz beauty, my double terminated clear quartz. And this one also has wire wrapping. And this is copper as well, copper and silver, if you can see there. So again, combining that beautiful energy. So really with a pendulum, you'll want something that has kind of a heavier, more solid base and a nice long string so that you can get an accurate description of your reading and what you're asking for. Now, pendulum is really best used for yes and no questions. And when you start with your pendulum and you're getting acquainted with it, some people like to sleep with it, some people like to just keep it close to them. And then you'll kind of feel when it's kind of, when the energy of your pendulum, and especially if it's a crystal, has kind of aligned with your own energy. And you'll feel it because when you pick it up, it'll just kind of like feel like an extension of yourself, which is really nice. So to begin, what's really important and not often discussed is that you want to always ask permission. Now remember, we are asking for divine guidance here. So you always want to start with a moment of just asking, just opening that conversation. And when you finish, you always want to close with a thank you. I like to give my pendulum a little kiss at the end, thanking it for the guidance. And so when you're starting, you want to go ahead and hold it. I like to hold my hand just under it, just to give me that extra bit of stability and energy and be able to really see the answer a little bit clearer. And you'll want to have your hand steadied like this so that when you start, you don't really have too much movement. What's interesting is when you're starting to work with pendulum is you'll notice that sometimes you pause between questions where it will steady, and sometimes you don't even have to pause. You just move on to the next one and your pendulum will immediately switch directions. So when you're starting, you want to introduce yourself, hello, and thank you for your guidance. And you want to ask a test question. So first you'll want to say, can I ask you a question? And I'm getting a very strong yes. So for me, in this pendulum, the movement is back and forth. So when it's back and forth, I know that that's a yes. Now you can ask your pendulum, show me a yes. Okay, so mine likes to do this one. Let's try the other one and just see what that one does. I mean, I've worked with it before, so it might be the same, but let's see. Pendulum, can I ask you a question? Yes, can you show me a yes answer? Okay, so this one also likes to go forward and back. Can you show me a no answer? Okay, so then it switches direction, and notice that it didn't stay still before moving on to the next answer. So that's really cool. You know that your pendulum is charged, it's ready, and you can ask what you like. So another thing you want to do after you have asked for permission and you have figured out which direction, some will move like in a clockwise motion, some will move counterclockwise for a yes or for a no, some are front, back, side to side, and I'm clearly moving this just so you know. But then that way you have, and then maybe some will move to the side like a diagonal for a yes and diagonal the other way for a no. So just pay attention when you're asking for it to show you the yes or no, and then that will always be the yes and no for this pendulum, for the one that you're working with in the future. So you don't have to repeat the yes/no question, you just now know what you're working with and what to expect in an answer. So the next thing that I'll do, and if I'm working with a client, I will want to ask, may I ask a question for such and such a name? And then I wait for my answer. And if I get a no, which does happen on occasion, it's okay. When you get a no, it's not the time, and don't force it, right? Don't like push your agenda here, because remember, we are asking for divine guidance. So divine guidance, if it's open to us and we are ready for it, the pendulum will let us know. So in my case, I'm going to ask, let's see, just for an example's sake, I'm going to ask for my son. Let's see if he did his homework yet. Okay, so holding your pendulum steady, and you can keep your hand just under here. Also note, I like to keep my feet uncrossed under the table, because when we're crossed, we're kind of conflicting our energies, like they're crossing over each other. So I like to keep my feet nice and grounded, centered, and rooted flat on the floor so that I can get a clear answer. When they're crossed, I just find myself personally, I find that interferes with my answer and my sight is not as clear. But again, do what works for you. So let's find out what my son's up to. So pendulum, may I ask you a question for Perseus? Okay, so I'm getting a good yes there. Thank you. And now you'll want to ask a test question. So my test question is my name Lorna? Okay, and I'm getting a no. And that means that I am ready to proceed, and I can keep going with my actual questions. Okay, so pendulum, has my son, my oldest, finished his homework for the day? Nope, not quite. Okay, so there's still work to be done. Yeah. Getting there. He's definitely not done his homework. Okay, so does he still have work to do? Yes. Wonderful. Now, it's better to stick to questions that are yes or no. When you're working with a client or you're working with yourself, for example, and you want to know what chakras need to be worked on, what needs some balancing, what energy center needs a little help, this is another way that you can tune in and ask. So I'll ask for myself just to see where I need to work on for today. So pendulum, oh, and thank you for answering for my son. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Okay, so for myself, pendulum, may I ask you a question for myself? Thank you. Is my name Lorna? No. Okay, so I can proceed. How is my crown chakra? Thank you. How is my third eye chakra? And I'm getting a yes, so that means that those chakra centers are balanced, because that was the intention behind my question. So make sure you keep the intention of your question accurate, so that when you get the answer, you understand what the answer is. Pendulum, how is my throat chakra? All right, so my throat chakra, I'm getting a big yes. So that could also be, maybe it's a little open. So I'll work on just tempering that a little bit. Pendulum, how is my heart chakra? Yes, okay, good. How is my solar plexus? Okay, so I'm getting a no on the solar plexus, which just means I need to work on my hara, like work on that. Let's see, I'm getting a yes. So work on that hara, work on my own inner strength, my own confidence, my center, my core. This is where I'll be able to do some healing work for myself, which is interesting because today on my desk, and this was not planned for the video, I happened to put a nice big chunk of citrine on my desk. This is like a smoky citrine, but it is just gorgeous. Yeah, you see that? Isn't that beautiful with a point? And this one, I don't know if you can see in the video, but this one is also a window one. See, so you see that little facet right there? That little facet is wonderful for using for just seeing with clarity, being able to see kind of like in the future, so to speak. But it's also just really great. And it's got some beautiful rainbows in there. So it's interesting that I happened to grab a large citrine to keep close to me today. Okay, so continuing, let's go back down for my scanning. Pendulum, how is my sacral chakra? Okay, and my sacral chakra is good and healthy. Pendulum, how is my root chakra? I'm not getting as strong. Okay, there it comes through. Okay, so I've got a yes on the root chakra. So my, thank you. So my, yes, make sure you say thank you. My throat chakra was definitely a strong yes. That might also just be because I am doing a presentation video for you, so I have to use my communication skills. So hopefully this is coming through okay. With my solar plexus, again, this is just probably related. Well, this is all of your power source. So this is, maybe I would do well with a nap. But otherwise, like realistically, I'll be keeping my citrine close to help me strengthen and balance that chakra center. This is my power source, and this is where I am going to have to do some of my own healing work. So for you, you can definitely use this anytime. Pendulum is really great to keep close to us. If you have like a nice little, like one of these little velvet bags at all, these are really great for storing them, just giving them a nice little protective place for them to sleep and rest in between answering guidance for you. Now you can use Pendulum for any kind of question that you have. So just remember to keep your questions simple, right? You want something can be answered with a yes or a no. So you want to kind of avoid those double-ended questions, which a lot of us do when we're first starting. Like, well, am I going to do this or am I going to do that? Okay. Pendulum is not going to answer you like that. That's not what that's not how you're going to get guidance here. So you want to start with your yes or no questions. Another thing that's really important and that I find in my own practice, especially when clients are asking me about someone else, about their loved one or about their, their mom or their sister or whoever, one thing that I notice is I think it's important to respect what other people are open to. Now, I have permission from my client. I have permission from myself. My son is my son. I have that permission. He's my child and we are divinely connected, so it's okay. But when it comes to answering a question, is my sister's, husband's friend or boss or whatever gonna do, gonna be okay or something? better to stay away from those. We want to respect the permission. This is kind of the law of the universe, right? We want to show our respect for people's energies. And often I find that when I do ask something that's outside the scope of a person's immediate life or future, or immediate questions that affect them directly, then it's fine. I can use pendulum, no problem. But if they're asking me for somebody else, is my girlfriend going to get that house? That's kind of, her girlfriend should ask, right? Does that make sense? So if you're asking a question, just keep it in your immediate circle, or for your clients, for whoever you're speaking with. Keep it focused on, the questions focused on their life, their energy, and what matters for them. And try to kind of stay away from dipping into the futures of others. Another reason that I find it's better not to do this is pendulum will not give me an accurate answer, because it's almost like it knows, like, you're not supposed to be asking for other people, so I'm gonna just give you something else. Another thing to keep in mind, and why it's so important to do a test question, is you want to make sure your energy and the energy of the pendulum is aligned so you can have clear answer. Now, when you ask your test question, you're going to be asking something that you know is a no. So this is why I ask, is my name Lorna? Because I know my name is not Lorna. Now, if I ever get a yes on Lorna, which it hasn't happened yet, but let's just say for argument's sake that you get a yes to your test question, this is not the time to ask questions, and it would be really great to do some cleansing work with your pendulum. So you can do that, with smoke from a sage or a rosemary. You can wash it in water if it's water safe. You can pop it in the freezer overnight and just let all that energy and that negative stuff drain away. You can bury it in the earth for a day or overnight and let Mother Earth do the cleansing for you. The light of the full moon is always really nice too, because that clears out energies and recharges them. Now, as far as cleansing your pendulum regularly, I don't find that I need to. I do keep this one, my beautiful pendulum here, I do keep her next to a piece of selenite. And that, because this is a clear quartz, that just prevents any other outside energy from latching onto her, and she stays nice and cleansed and free of outside forces or outside energy that may interfere with my question asking and getting those clear answers. So selenite is another one that you want to keep around. This is great to have anyway, just to keep with all your crystals, because it has a natural cleansing ability. And then I think that about does it for asking pendulum. If you have any questions or something I didn't address, please go ahead and drop a comment below. If this worked for you, or you find that you work with pendulum a lot, let me know. I'd love to hear your stories and how it's helped. And in the meantime, I hope you all have a beautiful day, and I hope that this was helpful. Many blessings. Oh, hello, Minx. Are you coming to join us? And Minx decided to say hello. All right, guys. Have a great day. Bye.